What's going on, guys? Antrod here. The video you're about to see was filmed several weeks prior, and I'm just now sitting down to edit it, and I'm noticing that there's a lot of static messing up on the microphone. The lighting is terrible. It looks blue and black and white. It's really bad. It was just really bad. So some of the stuff that I was going to explain, I'll just explain right here, as you see in the video. Most of this is probably going to be a voiceover as I kind of build everything. It's just going to be kind of like a time lapse of what I'm doing so you guys can understand what it is you're about to see. In this video, I want to explain to you guys what I do for creating music. When it comes to making music, the one thing that you want to be able to do is have kind of like an isolated corner or an isolated room so you can put your microphone. Any kind of microphone you use, no matter how good it is going to pick up lots of background noise. Either that, or coming from experience, it's going to be turned down so much that when you turn it up in your DAW, your digital audio interface, when you turn it up, it's going to sound very staticky. It just doesn't sound good. The one thing that you want to do when it comes to making music is you want to isolate your mic, which in this video, I'm going to show you how I do that. So let's jump right to it, to the time lapse of a mess that I filmed. So what I'm doing in this first video is I'm building out the PVC frame for the studio because I didn't have any zip ties to zip tie the moving blankets to the studio. I'll explain what those are in a second, but yeah, I'm an idiot and I didn't have what I needed to do this video in the first place, so I had to cut it into a couple of different videos. But anyways, I'm building the PVC frame out for the studio. Now this frame could be any size that you want. I wanted the luxury of having it a little bit bigger so that anyone I brought over here to record had enough wiggle room, had room to move their arms, had room to chill and vibe. I didn't want the room to be super small, compact just for me. I wanted it big enough for other people to be able to use and allow me to also bring other instruments into the studio if I need be. So this particular room is a decent size. I don't know the exact measurements, but I know it's a decent size and it's big enough for a couple of people. You can make your studio however big you want. However, whatever design you want. This was my design, and it could probably be much better, but this is the one I decided to build. The PVC cost me roughly around like $100 in total, but I'm sure if you do the right measurements, depending on how big or how small you want to do it, it'll be much cheaper or more expensive, depending on what you do. Now here's where the fun part comes, and it's the moving blankets. These moving blankets are thick, padded blankets. You can get these at like your Depot, Lowe's, even online. I actually got these from Harbor Freight, and they're about $5 a piece. So they were roughly like 55, 60 bucks, maybe even cheaper for all the moving blankets. I do need to get more because they're very holey. The more holey it is, basically think of cheddar cheese. You're not going to get a nice blanketed, covered burger patty out of Swiss cheese. It's going to be very holey. There's going to be spots that the cheese doesn't cover. That's the same thing with moving blankets and music. There's going to be holes for sound to leak in and sound to leak out, and it's going to cause humming. But these still work great, but in the future, I'm definitely going to get new ones. I would highly suggest get yourself some moving blankets and try not to put as little holes in it as possible. And if you are going to put holes, try to have something on the back to cover it up. But nothing that moves, otherwise your moving blankets are going to rub, and it's going to cause more noise for your microphone to pick up. Something else I want to make note of in the studio is do not put electronics in your studio. What I mean by that is, well, how am I going to see in an enclosed space? Idiot, I'm aware. You want to use LEDs or some kind of low electronic lights. Reason being is because electronics give off a hum that goes through your computer, your Xbox, your laptop. They all give your wiring. It all gives off an electronic hum that our ears can't pick up, but our microphones pick up. And then when you go to edit your music, it will be picked up in your music, and it'll have a steady electronic in all of your recordings, which that's never good in any kind of recording, any kind of thing, because you got to try to remove that. You're going to remove it, and it's just going to sound like trash. So it's not something you want to do. It's not ideal. You want to get rid of as much humming and electronics as possible out of your recording studio. So for me, what I use is LEDs. LEDs don't give off as much of a hum as regular lighting, but they still give off a hum, but it's definitely not as bad. And the wire for those LEDs is hidden behind the moving blanket. So the only wire that's actually going into your microphone at all is your studio headphones and your microphone wire, which is thick padded so that it doesn't give off as much of a hum. When it comes to the moving blankets, you want to use zip ties. I highly suggest get yourself some scissors or some kind of cutting device, and then a knife so you can cut into the moving blankets. The moving blankets are thick. Scissors will work, but you want to get yourself like a box cutter or some super sharp knife. sculpting knife, something like that, so you can attach them. If you know any other kind of way of attaching the movie blankets to the studio, let me know. But what I highly suggest, and I've noticed in other recording studio videos, people tend to put the movie blankets on the outside. I like to have all my movie blankets on the inside. It looks ugly from the outside because you're seeing the frame of the PVC and then the movie blankets, but on the inside, literally sound packed. It's literally like you're using the movie blankets to be wrapping paper on the inside of the box. Definitely works, and if you really want to go the extra mile, put movie blankets on the inside and the outside. It actually would make it even more soundproof, and that's something I would probably highly suggest for any kind of recording studio is go all out. One thing that you definitely want to use though is if you have the luxury of having a house, I would definitely have like a separate room for your recording, or even just a stand-up closet for recording. I have a stand-up closet, but I wanted to use it for storage, so I didn't end up using it as my recording booth. However, if you have that luxury of having a stand-up closet or side room, that closet or something as your recording booth, that way you can close yourself in there and completely enclose the sound inside of that closet or office. Hey guys, so here we are in the studio. Now this, compared to what it was in my living room, is much better. I don't know how much it's actually picking up, but I know that my computer's on outside the studio. I have a window open outside in the other room. I know the lighting in here isn't that great. I have one light above me, but this is the inside of the studio with the moving blankets. Now, this is, in my opinion, I poorly made this. I don't know what I was thinking when I was designing this one. I used the wrong blankets in the wrong sections. But for what it is, it actually works really well. I don't know how much this microphone on this phone is going to pick up. I know I just heard a bird chirp out there. I hear the window open. But I don't know how much this is actually going to pick up in here. I'll have to see if you pick that up. There was some squeaking, or squirrels were fighting outside the window. Thank you so much for watching. In the description below, you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, all kinds of different locations. It's all down there in the description. If you're not a Patreon yet, feel free to go in the description below and check me out on Patreon. I'm constantly posting updates on what's going on the channel, what's going to be coming up in the year, updates on my album, so on and so forth. You can find it all below in the description. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I have merch, so if you're interested in supporting me, there's shirts down there you can check out. I got an Antrod shirt, a couple Monster Inside shirts, High Pitch, and I have one of my songs, Let's Get Stuff, as a t-shirt as well. It can be in t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, there's all kinds of different things down there, all in the description below on Etsy. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you haven't yet, feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I already said that. The other thing about the studios, it makes you a little bit crazy. See you guys later, and run out.